Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. Today I've got a really cool little knife to talk about. I think it's a fantastic value of a knife. Um, and it is the Maxace Meerkat. Before we get started, I want to do a quick shout out and thank you to the channel members. Thank you guys so much. I want to invite any of you who might be new, who might be stopping by the channel and hadn't had a chance yet. If you would, please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon next to it. It would really help the channel out. And if you guys are over on Instagram and you'd like to connect over there, I am over there. I post pocket dumps and some short reels, stuff like that at jevans_knife_addict_life. So today I wanted to talk about this newer knife from Maxace that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. I picked it up from White Mountain Knives. White Mountain Knives is where I get a lot of knives. They have some knives that I don't always see at other places, so I'm always kind of browsing them for unique stuff. And I also have a code that you guys can use at White Mountain Knives. It's Juhvon10, Juhvon 10. If you put that in at checkout, you can save 10% on most of your purchases except for Hinderers and Jack Wolfs and things that don't allow discounts. But I was able to save 10% on this little knife, and it was a great value to start with. And now that I've lived with it for a while, I can honestly say it's a fantastic knife with a couple of little caveats here and there, but I wanted to get into it with you guys. I wanted to talk about it with you guys, and it is the Maxace Meerkat. One thing you'll notice about this knife is I compare it for some reason to the Maxace Black Mirror just because of the value and the materials and the way that it kind of looks, and I'll show you that here in a second. But the Meerkat is CPM S90V. It is titanium handle. It has blue or light blue titanium hardware and accent ring around the pivot, and a light blue clip. It is a frame lock. It has very nice action. I would say it is a medium-sized knife, which, to quote Christine, one of my favorite swimming carry knives, small and medium kind of combined. You can't really say it's a small knife, but it's definitely not a medium-sized knife. I call it a medium. But to me, it's a very comfortable knife in hand. It is a little bit thick. We'll look at that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just a reality. It has a little bit of what I consider a late detent. That's not a bad thing. It's just something that I notice. For example, when I go to shut this knife, I just went past it there. Hold on a second. So right there is where my detent ball starts. So it'll work in a little better, but now I'm past the detent and it falls shut. The action on this knife, there's the detent ball, just went past it. So again, I don't necessarily say that's good or bad. It's just something I wanted to point out to you guys. So the Maxace Meerkat is, I think, a very elegant looking knife, kind of an understated knife in the same vein that the Black Mirror from Maxace is. I'm so used to my Babylon, some of the more intricate, wild looking Maxaces that are super cool looking, but they're different than just a knife with a lanyard hole, a couple of pieces of hardware, two pieces of titanium blue back spacer there, and you know, a stonewash blade with a satin flat up here at the top. And it does have kind of a unique shaped blade. I've noticed that that makes it, when I grip this knife, I basically, one of the things that's a little weird about this knife to me is the grip. So if I want to get a really safe grip behind there, I can grip it right here. I'm free of any of the blade. I'm free of, anything I might come into contact with. The way I like to hold this knife, and I find myself holding this knife, is using this as a trigger and then putting my finger right up here at the top of this little poon. So that way I don't get any material caught up in this sharpening choil here. And I still feel every bit as comfortable because it's my thumb and that poon's bracing my hand. Um, Again, small knife feels very solid. It feels like it's just a little tank. It's a little thicker behind the edge. We'll look at that and get a measurement here in a second. But again, that stone washed S90V blade, and I don't think I have any good paper. What's this over here? Hold on a second. All right, here's some junk mail. Let's see what we got in here. Google something. Google Fiber, blah, blah, blah. Very clean, very smooth. That's a credit card or a fake card on the other side of that. That's why it's not cutting through it. But when I get down to this, you can really see how it bites into that material. But very sharp. And that's how it came out of the box from Maxace. You can see it's got a toothy edge because it's holding on to a little bit of that paper right there. But you can just feel it. I mean, it's very sticky, very, very nice stone washing here. And then you've got this little bit of flat. You got stone washing up on this swedge here. Just a neat little package. I love this knife. One of the things that is the downside is the pocket clip. I have to use two hands to get the pocket clip in. Right now I've got it in my pocket perfectly. If I go to slide it in with just one hand, it doesn't clear the material. I have to use my left hand, both hands to get it, but I can pull it out with one hand. Just a little bit stiff. So for example, if I were just going to try to slide that under there, it's not going to really easily slide. But if I help it clear that clip, it rides fine. Again, I'm wearing jeans right now. I'm not wearing khakis, but I've carried this with khakis. I've carried it with jeans. I do feel that with khakis, the clip could be longer, I think. I think that would remedy a lot of the shortcomings in the clip. And it could be formed a little bit differently. I think that ramp is a little bit sharp. However, it works for me. It's not a deal breaker. It's just something that I wish was a little better. I would like to see the knife. I think it could be a little bit larger. To me, it's a little bit on the small side. I don't find that as a negative, though. Let's do a couple of real quick size comparisons. And I'm going to start out by pulling out the Black Mirror. This is a knife by Maxace that they put out late last year, I think, maybe earlier this year, that was M390, if I'm not mistaken, titanium. Has a great clip, and you can tell that clip's got a much better ramp. It's longer, so it's got more room to flex. But the Black Mirror is a little bit longer, and it doesn't have another little bit of a downside is the branding on the Meerkat. This Black Mirror was always so great because it has very little branding. You can see Black Mirror, Bowler M390, just so like you can see Meerkat CPM S90V. They just used a smaller font and they used a different color, kind of like that gold. But let's look at it next to our Civivi Baby Banter in our Cold Steel 4Max. So it's going to come in much smaller than the 4Max, larger than the Baby Banter. Let's look at it next to the Benchmade Bug Out. A little bit shorter than the Baby Bug Out. So instead of the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, I am going to opt for the Mini Bug Out. And we'll see that it's a little bit longer than the Baby Bug Out, a little bit shorter than the Big Bug Out, which means if we get our Javon promotional tape measure, which actually broke, so I had to go to Amazon and get 2 of these promotional tape measures and put a sticker on them to replace that tape measure, said tape measure. This is right at or under 7 inches, just a hair under 7 inches. The blade is right about 3 1/4. The cutting edge is 3 inches. The handle is right at 4 inches. Where I hold the knife, you're going to want to have a smaller hand because it's about 3 1/4 inches. That's from here to here. If I was going to get it from the back and let my finger hang over, I'm right at about 3 1/2 inches with that grip. And let's look at our blade thickness is going to come in 0.1570. Our handle thickness is going to come in 0.5180. And behind the edge, 0.0200. So I think it is a neat little package. The few shortcomings that, I would like to see improved or I think could be improved on are mainly the pocket clip um, and the branding being a little bit heavy there. Let's clean off the, let's see what this guy weighs. So it's going to come in at 3.85 ounces. Let's compare that to the Black Mirror. 3.9 ounces. So if you notice, the thickness is right about the same stock. But the pocket clip is done much better on the Black Mirror. Again, not a deal breaker for me. Goes in and out of my pockets fine. It just requires me to think about it and use 2 hands. But guys, that is the Maxace Meerkat. And I think it's a great knife. The punchline to all of this is this knife at White Mountain Knives list price was $158. That's full titanium, full tie hardware, T8s all the way around, S90V blade, fantastic action, perfect centering, great build quality, $158. And then I put in Javon 10, which allowed me to save another 10%, brought it down to, if I'm not mistaken, right under $150 and shipped for free. So it's a win-win. And this is available at White Mountain Knives. If they happen to be out of stock, I'm sure they're available at Maxace's website, but I would go to White Mountain Knives and I would put in my email address where this was, and I will link this where I purchased this, the link on White Mountain site, so you can leave your email to be notified when it's back in stock. But guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, channel members. Thank you, anyone who's taken the time to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, or if you've just taken the time to stop by. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I do ask that when you leave here, you look out for the guy or gal to your left. You look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.